What happened to the 11 players drafted before Tyrese Haliburton? Tyrese Haliburton this season went from a borderline all-star to an MVP candidate at just 23 years old. And Haliburton may be the most complete offensive player in the NBA. He's averaging 27 points and 12 assists per game, which if he finishes the season with these numbers, it'll make him the only player ever to do this. No player has ever recorded 25 plus points, 15 plus assists with 0 turnovers in more than one game in a season. Haliburton has done it 3 times this year. Only 2 players have ever shot above 43% from 3 on 8.5 attempts a game: Steph Curry and Tyrese Haliburton. And best of all, Haliburton's Indiana Pacers have the most points per game scored in NBA history. But at one point, nobody believed in Haliburton, and he looked like he might not even be able to play college basketball. In high school, Haliburton was a late bloomer. He drew very little college interest, and he even made a bet with his football coach that if he didn't get a basketball scholarship in the next 2 months, he would play football instead. Luckily, Haliburton got an offer to play at IUPUI, and this motivated him to stick with basketball. Haliburton won a state championship his senior year of high school, and despite the success, he was still outside of the top 150 players in the country and had no major college offers like other NBA stars would have at this point. Haliburton committed to play at Iowa State, but a path to the NBA from here looked unrealistic. Haliburton was buried on the Iowa State depth chart, and the team even considered redshirting him during his freshman year. That was until their starting point guard went down and Haliburton seized the opportunity. Haliburton went on to start every game for Iowa State over the next 2 years and showed his ability to impact the game on all levels on offense. Now, his talents were on NBA scouts' radars, and there was talks of him going in the early first round. However, teams had their concerns. Haliburton has an unorthodox jump shot that many thought needed to be fixed for the NBA. Also, in 2020, draft workouts were limited to only one person at a time due to the pandemic, and this hurt him as he was not able to show his top skill: playmaking. The draft day was finally here, and all attention was on Anthony Edwards from Georgia, known for his explosive scoring and superstar potential. Edwards was the consensus #1 overall pick in the draft, and this pick for the Timberwolves, they haven't second-guessed. Edwards has quickly become one of the league's best young talents. With a promising future ahead, the Timberwolves are thrilled with this decision. At #2 overall, the Warriors considered taking Tyrese Haliburton. However, the Warriors were set with guards, and it made more sense for their current team to take a big man, so they selected James Wiseman. At the time, many thought Wiseman was one of the best players in the draft and could be one of the best defensive big men in the NBA. However, Wiseman was put onto an already loaded Warriors team and never saw consistent playing time, and was frequently injured. Due to his lack of development, the Warriors gave up on Wiseman 2.5 years into his career, sending him to the Pistons. Now, Wiseman struggles to even get minutes on the Pistons, who were one of the worst teams in the NBA. Warriors GM at the time, Bob Myers, in response to taking Wiseman over Haliburton, said, "It was a mistake. I screwed up. It was a major mistake." This statement right here, unfortunately, echoes the thoughts of many GMs looking back at their decisions tonight. Moving on to the 3rd pick, the Hornets selected LaMelo Ball. LaMelo has been a star since getting drafted, living up to all expectations. The future is bright for LaMelo in Charlotte, and LaMelo joins Anthony Edwards and Tyrese Haliburton as the 3 players in this draft to make an all-star game in their first 3 years. The Bulls surprised everyone by choosing Patrick Williams at 4th overall. In his rookie year, he had his ups and downs and showed promise as a skilled 3-and-D wing. Unfortunately, he broke his wrist during his 2nd season, causing him to miss out on most of the year. In his 3rd year, Williams made a strong comeback, excelling as a role player. He shot an impressive 41.5% from 3 and often guarded opponents' top players. However, this season, Williams has taken a step back, and his shooting, which many thought could continue to improve, has dropped off significantly. The potential of Patrick Williams remains uncertain, and he still has room to grow. Yet at the time of the draft, the Bulls could have really used a point guard, and no matter how well Williams develops, he won't be anywhere close to Tyrese Haliburton. At 5th overall, the Cavs went for Isaac Okoro, an athletic wing known for his defense from Auburn. Okoro began his NBA journey as a starter in his rookie and sophomore seasons. While he displayed solid defensive skills, his offensive role was limited due to his lack of shot development and playmaking abilities. By his 3rd year, the Cavs shifted him to the bench, causing his scoring average to drop to 6.4 points per game, the lowest of his career so far. Unless Okoro enhances his offensive game, this pick might be less impressive. With the 6th pick in the draft, the Atlanta Hawks selected center Onyeka Okongwu. He hasn't had many opportunities to start due to Clint Capella's presence, but he shines when given the chance. In games where he plays 30 minutes or more, he averages an impressive 12.5 points, 10.4 rebounds, and 2.7 blocks per game. Despite limited minutes, Onyeka ranks 5th in win shares among players from his draft class. Onyeka is an elite rim protector and rebounder. He just hasn't fully had the chance to unleash it yet. Halliburton told the Hawks and Cavs both to not draft him, since they already had a franchise point guard. This makes the decision not to pick Halliburton make sense looking back on these 2 picks. But the next team had no excuse. The Detroit Pistons desperately needed a point guard and had the choice of Haliburton or Killian Hayes. The Pistons ultimately took Hayes at 7th overall. In France, he was a decent playmaker and defending guard, but he had nothing exceptional about his game. Due to his young age and potential, he drew interest. But since coming to the NBA, Killian has really struggled. For his career, he's shooting 37% and has the 4th worst offensive rating among players with 20 minutes per game or more. Killian has shown some promise passing the ball, but with the Pistons selecting guards in the 1st round almost every draft since him, it kinda indicates that they have no faith in him for the long term. Considering the circumstances, Haliburton, without a doubt, would have been a more suitable choice for the Pistons. At 8th overall, the Knicks selected Obi Toppin. He wasn't widely noticed during his 1st year of college, but he stood out during his sophomore year, where he led the NCAA in dunks and gained attention, propelling him up teams' draft rankings. However, in his 3 seasons for the Knicks, Toppin was a big letdown, struggling to even get minutes. This season, the Knicks gave up on Toppin and shipped him out to the Pacers for 2 second-round picks. Toppin has broken out this season on the Pacers because of, you guessed it, Tyrese Haliburton. Toppin has done nothing but hustle and cut for dunks, and when you have Haliburton running the offense, this is perfect. Toppin this year leads the NBA in 2-point percentage, and he can be thankful that he gets to play with the guy who should have been drafted ahead of him. It's great that Toppin's career has worked out now, but the Knicks taking Toppin over Haliburton has left their fans pissed to this day.
What did we have with the New York Knicks? Not a damn thing, okay? You got the number 8 overall pick. You gonna draft Obi Toppin when you know Julius Randle is in your lineup.
Finally, at 9th overall, it looked like Haliburton was going to find his team.
But Washington was a real possibility. That was somewhere I really thought was going to happen. I actually was told at one point like they were about to pick me.
But this ended up not happening. With the 9th pick, the Wizards decided to change their mind and went for Deni Avdija from Israel. Deni stands at 6'10", is defensively versatile, and has great playmaking skills. However, the Wizards haven't fully utilized Deni's strengths to the fullest, mainly keeping him in the corner as a 3-and-D wing. His shooting hasn't been great in his career so far, but with the chance on a rebuilding team, he might be able to turn things around. This choice hasn't appeared ideal for the Wizards, who given the chance would redo this pick easily, and would have looked right towards Tyrese Haliburton as a better option. 10th overall, we saw the Phoenix Suns select big man Jalen Smith from Maryland. This choice was intriguing since he wasn't expected to be a lottery pick, and the Suns already had DeAndre Ayton as their future center. In his initial season and a half, Smith barely got to play, so the Suns traded him to the Pacers for Torrey Craig. Since joining Indiana, Smith has seen more court time and been a decent backup big man, occasionally starting when Miles Turner is sidelined. Smith has started taking more 3-point shots and has potential to be a reliable role player. However, considering how quickly the Suns moved on from him, they definitely regret passing on Haliburton. 11th overall, the San Antonio Spurs selected Devin Vassell. Vassell has steadily improved each season, going from 5.5 points per game to 12.3 to second on his team with 18.5 last season. Vassell excels on both ends of the court and will be a key piece to the Spurs' future. So this pick, by no means, was a miss. Finally, at 12th overall, the Sacramento Kings selected Tyrese Haliburton. Haliburton, as a rookie, was a beast and looked like a future star. The only problem was, the Kings had a star point guard of their own with De'Aaron Fox. So, the Kings did what 11 other teams did on draft night and decided to pass on Haliburton themselves and trade him to the Pacers for Domantas Sabonis. Now, with the Pacers, Haliburton has had the opportunity to run his own team and prove the NBA wrong for thinking that there were 11 players in that draft that were better than him.